Hello, this is Jerry Mitchell, and we are back for another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast. Let's get right into it. First, there is a street in central Kiev named after John McCain, and that's really all you need to know about the war in Ukraine. Yes, this is real, from Clint Russell on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, John, I want to stay in Iraq forever, McCain. Crazy that his party has become the less foreign interventionist branch of the Uniparty. Will probably switch back, though, as it always does. Then we have exclusive. Last night I went inside a training called "Trans Activism and You: A Review of Response to Anti-Trans Rhetoric." That's where I heard queer activists at SB Pink Manta Ray say it's a good thing if kids decide they're trans before their brains are fully developed. From Carolyn Borisenko on Twitter, and I said, at the rate we are going, I wouldn't be surprised if being cisgender is eventually made legal. Because it just seems like that eventually that's the way things are going. Like, you can't question any of the LGBTQ narrative at all, no matter how well intentioned you are, or without them coming after you for it. So that's why I think it might eventually come down to that. If like a few decades from now, we'll have to see what happens. Then we have U.S. agency sues Tesla as black workers report swastikas, threats, and nooses at apartheid regime refugee business from ArsTechnica.com by Chai20. And that's crossed from the Arctic/technology subreddit. And yeah, I think that's just kind of an agenda post because, Tesla is run by Elon Musk, who's in the out group right now, and that's why they care so much. It's just not that. I think, it's more. I don't know if it's real or not because, I think, it just sounds too good to be true when it comes to appealing to the narrative too much. Then we have first co-defendant in authoritarian Trump Georgia election case pleads guilty from CNBC.com by Chai20. And I said, and I think, I personally don't, I think, I don't know if we should be, arresting everyone who has political opposition, who's for political prosecution and political opposition. But if you want to justify that, you should justify that. Just don't be a surprise when it comes back and he's used against you, I would say. I personally, I don't think we should have a prison system at all. I think we should have justice through the vigilante system, I would say, rather than the street justice, rather than the biased justice system that we have currently. Then we have retiring General Mark Milley hits Trump. We don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator from the Messenger.com by Chai20. And I guess that's okay. I think the U.S. Constitution is really just the U.S. at this point. It's all just interchangeable. Deep state dictator. It's all just the usual. They're not Trump and Biden aren't really running the show. It's all the deep state running. So that's who they're really taking the oath to, I guess. That's why I would say, they're really taking the oath to the deep state and the CIA and FBI and the rest of the alphabet agencies and the rest of the military industrial complex. Then we have transactions involving the world's second richest person, French capitalist tyrant dictator billionaire Bernard Arnault, investigated over suspected money laundering from CNN.com. And I personally think everyone's probably corrupt to some extent. That's what, but I think probably the more money you have, the more likely you probably are to be corrupt, I would say. But we'll have to see if there's any truth to this. But yeah, I think everyone's probably corrupt to some extent. Everyone's got skeletons in their closet, I would say. So this is nothing really surprising. Then we have mainstream America Republican Christian commentator says Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce should be executed from Chai20. And from Newsweek.com. That's across from the conservative terrorism subreddit. And I said, where is it? Well, I didn't say anything really. I said, live for your spouses. Isn't George Bush way ahead of the line, having murdered a million people in Iraq for no reason at all? I said, that's why I really don't care for Bush and think he's the worst post of my lifetime. Unlike with Trump, there was really no pretext of holding Bush accountable whatsoever. Same with all the other side of Trump, pretty much. And I think this, even then, his prosecution of Trump, this might all be theater. They might just steal all along behind the scenes. I think this is just a distraction, so they can. It's all theater, so they can distract help from the CIA and the rest of the deep state are the ones really running the country, I would say. Then we have crazy when authoritarian capitalist corporations and GOP make church look good. Uh, for across borders from the conservative terms, so at number by Jack and 20, and that's medieval peasants worked only about 150 days in a year. The church believed it was important to keep them happy with frequent mandatory holidays. You have less holidays than the medieval peasant. And I said, feudalism is good actually. Jack and 20, it's people are always saying we live in the worst times of all time, including compared to the medieval times when they had the Black Death running around. So that just goes to show you how people will always find a way to complain about anything, really. Then we have Russian asset spreads anti-democratic propaganda, says elections don't work, and is openly trying to start a civil war by calling for a violent revolution to overthrow the U.S. government. We just need to talk about what to do with those guns and how to use them. From Chai-Channel-20, and that's crosspost from another crosspost from the conservative terrorism subreddit. And I don't know if I said anything at this time, but I think this might just be a fed, or everyone, it's everyone they don't like is they're going to label a Russian asset or a Nazi or whatever. So I don't think it really matters. I think this is just a guy who's doing some theater, just some, the thing with social media is they always find the crazy guys, the crazy guys to choose for their opinions. So that's why it's important that they always find someone like this. And then we have breaking down every economic claim from the second Republican debate from OpenSubstack.com and over by Titan020, and it's another cross from the current conservative terrorism subreddit. And I personally think, if you disagree with any conservative economics at all, you're apparently a Nazi now. So that's pretty much what they're trying to say. I think here, I don't really want to read all this, but it's about the strike. I don't really care about the UAW strike. With workers on strike, I think they should be able to, but I don't think they should feel entitled to payment if they're not working, I would say. Now we have, what else do we have here? Okay, nothing too interesting, I would say. Then we have Donald Trump, stochastic terrorist from China-20, and that is crosspost from the Politicus subreddit. And I said the in-group has never demonized anyone who has gone against them at all. Only the out-group does that. It's the same tropes every day, especially when you look at social media. It's always the same tropes on social media every single day, really. Then we have, why do so few liberals seem to know that Paul Manafort, Trump's 2016 campaign manager, confessed to sharing polling data and campaign strategies with Russia from this crosspost from the Ask a Liberal subreddit by Chai-20, and Groggleberry replied, because the propaganda worked, the Russian media machine successfully managed to poison the well. And I said, the Mueller report was pretty much nothing considered how hyped it was. But I'm on Reddit where people probably still think the Steele dossier is legitimate, so I shouldn't be surprised with that. Yeah, they were always gonna say Russia, Russia. Everyone they don't like is Russia, Russia, Russia. It's just like how the Nazis kind of say everyone they didn't like was Jewish. It's just kind of the same thing. It's the same boogeyman mentality that they use. I don't really care for Russia, but I definitely think it's time for the for the left to get a new boogeyman other than Russia, I would say, and same for the right in China, I would say. They have the same boogeyman that they always use, and that's something that's important to remember. What they always pull out the same boogeyman every single time. Then we have watch Elizabeth Warren take no shit whatsoever from evasive Biden nominee from HuffPost.com. And I guess that's good. It's always nice when people try and hold their own party accountable, so that's good. I think it might just be theater, though. It might just, but it's most politics is just theater. It's just kind of like politics is just kind of like high school at this point. There's the in group, the out group, and then all the subcultures. It's just kind of really high school never really does end. It looks like. So then we have Ron Paul on racism, February 16th, 2007, and I posted that, and I said, it's a quote from a book I have. Racism is simply an ugly form of collectivism, the mindset that views humans strictly as members of groups rather than individuals. Racists believe that all individuals who share superficial physical characteristics are alike. As collectivists, racists think only in terms of groups. By encouraging Americans to adopt a group mentality, the advocates of so-called diversity actually perpetuate racism. Their obsession with racial group identity is inherently racist. The true antidote to racism is liberty. Liberty means having a limited constitutional government devoted to the production of individual rights rather than group claims. Liberty means free market capitalism which rewards individual achievement and competence, not skin color, gender, or ethnicity. And I said 16 years later, it only seems to get more relevant every year. I never go to Ron Paul from the book I have, because federal hate crime laws for criminalized faults there incompatible for free society from May 7, 2007. That's another good one. And I also another good one. Demanding an election in Palestine and Gaza resulted in enhancing the power of Hamas. The United States and Israel promptly rejected the results. So much for our support for democratically elected government. September 7, 2006. That's when they say, oh, we support democracy. No, they don't. They only support democracy they agree with. They don't support democracy when they disagree with it. So that's why I don't really by all this, we gotta save democracy stuff. They don't care about democracy. They just care about being in power, and they just use democracy as a pretext to do so. Then we have Hitler did a lot of good things, from Trump and the U.S. capitalist rehabilitation of Nazism, from humanrights.cmc.edu, from Tri-Tunnel 20. And that's just another kind of agenda post. It's probably just one stupid person saying it, but then, it's everyone says it apparently. Then we have pensions are a plan of the past. Ford's CFO says pensions give working class people power over individual tyrant capitalists. That's why CEOs oppose them, from CNN.com, from Tri-Tunnel 20. And I think pensions, I don't think people should be entitled to pensions. People shouldn't be entitled to anything. So that's my thoughts there, I don't think workers should be entitled to anything. Unless, that's life is unfair like that. So that's my thoughts on it. Then we have the GOP and its capitalist oil oligarch tyrants want to keep us from reading books with dangerous ideas, from Tri-Channel 20. That's the request from the conservative terrorism subreddit. And I said, it's just being done by both sides to both sides in increasing censorship we see on. It's just being done to both sides increasing censorship we see on social media. Both branches of the Uniparty want dissent to be quashed as much as possible, but the Dem branch is definitely pushing for censorship of ideas they consider to be dangerous more currently, I would say. Check out the post from Coleman Hughes I made yesterday, where Coleman Hughes, his TED Talk was suppressed by the TED website because it went against the narrative, because he was talking about colorblindness in a post-racial world, which you're not allowed to say these days in the era of the woke ideology that we live in. Yeah. Then we have rating Russell Brand conspiracies from a Dose of Buckley on YouTube, and I posted that, and I said, the allegations might be true, but it's important to remember that the people who are going after him the most are doing so firstly for political and narrative responses above all else, reasons above all else. If he was mostly apolitical like Louis C.K., people wouldn't really care. It's just he's a member of the out group though, so that's why people are going after him as hard as they are currently. Then we have just 6% of new S&P jobs went to white applicants in the wake of George Floyd. Analysis shows from Washington Free Beacon, and I posted that, and I said, Racism is bad, except when the narrative says otherwise. Then we have RFK Jr. teases major announcement and speculation he will make independent or third party run from CNN. And I posted that and I said, I personally wouldn't vote for him, but any Ross Perot type strong third party showing will probably only be a step in the right direction at this point. Looks like Cenk Uyghur and take his place in the Dem primaries, but I don't know how far he will get since he's ineligible for not being a natural born U.S. citizen. Then we have, it's perfectly reasonable and appropriate for House Democrats to request more time to review the bill Republican leaders just unveiled. Rushing votes is wrong when Democrats do it. It happened to Lauder Pelosi, and it's wrong Republicans do it too. From Justin Amash on Twitter, and I posted that and I said, Congress to me seems like nothing more than the high school of how many double standards it has, and now if Representative Bowman pulling the fire alarm is a way to delay the exam/bill, high school really does never end, as I was talking about earlier. It's just the same bullshit over and over again with the same in-group, out-group, the same cliques and all that bullshit. So, if you don't care for high school, you're probably not gonna care for the rest of life as well, I would say, because it's all the same social bullshit. Then we have, I believe Barnett could be applied here. The 1943 case ruled regarding Jehovah's Witnesses in the choice to salute the flag. In a 6-3 ruling, so it determined the government, including public schools, cannot compel citizens to express a belief without violating the First Amendment. And that was from the writer Libertarian on Twitter. She was replying to posts from libs of TikTok about how one professor at Fresno State forced students to include their pronouns on their papers or she'd take points off for their grade. And I said, might as well get rid of the whole school system then. It's all about forcing beliefs down people's throats. And I think that we're gonna, let's see if there's anything new. I don't think so. So I think we're gonna, wrap it up there. I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.